It was a dark, gloomy night. Silence rang out in North Sydney, especially outside St. Mary's Church where I prayed at. I kneeled down at the front of the church with my rosary in my grasped, praying hands and with my crucifix hanging on the chains of my necklace. I prayed at the church for a long time, even as the night progresses. It was just after midnight mass had ended, and I remained at the church, praying silently, even after everyone had left. I prayed at the church for a while. Then I got up, put my rosary in a small pocket bag, stepped into the aisle, bowed to the front of the church, and walked to the back of the church, walking out into the darkness of the night. It was very late. It was just after 1 a.m, and here I was, just going back to my apartment. I walked across North Sydney Oval alone, while no one else was around. No drinkers, no cops, no drugged up fanatics, no hooligans, not even a single other normal pedestrian. No one. The night was silent. Too silent, maybe. But yet again, it was just after midnight. So, it wasn't really surprising. But as I got halfway through the oval, something didn't seem right. I felt like I was being watched somehow. I tried to shake off the feeling, but it wouldn't go away. So I slowed down my walking and listened for any sign of a presence near me. Still silence. The silence was getting eerie at this point. I was starting to feel a bit uneasy. Then, out of nowhere, something stopped into my path. I froze in shock and fear. What stood in front of me was a horned figure. Red eyes glowed as it locked them onto me. It was tall, hairy, and muscular. It was carrying a large sack over its shoulder. I stood frozen in fear as I looked up at the creature. "Hello, human," it said calmly in a raspy voice. "Hello?" I stuttered. "Have you been good this year?" it asks, still looking down at me. Its eyes still locked into mine. Why?" I asked while I still stuttered. The creature rubbed its hairy chin as if it were thinking. Then it grinned at me as it put down its large sack.
"Do you want to see what the bad ones get?"
the creature asked. I couldn't even answer that question. In fact, I didn't even want to know what it had in that sack. But despite that, it opened the sack to show me. And what I saw inside of it made me sick. What the monster had in its sack were cut up body parts of children. Their ages ranged from 3 to 12. The parts ranged from tiny hands and feet to shocked, frightened looking faces, some of which had bloodshot eyes. I gagged at the sight, trying not to puke as the stench of the children's corpses hit me like a smoke from a fire. The monster closed the sack back up, but what it did next shook me to my core. It held out a large knife in front of its face, licking its blade while it grinned even wider and looking more sinister.
You sure you've been good?
It evilly asked, sending a chill down my spine. I tried to run, but I was still frozen in fear as the creature slowly moved towards me. I closed my eyes and prepared for the end as it lifted its giant knife in the air, ready to slash me. I waited for a while, but nothing happened. I slowly opened my eyes to see the creature again. What was once a sinister-looking smile was now a face of shock and terror. It wasn't even looking at me in the eye though. It was looking at my chest. I looked down at my chest to see what it was frightened by. That's when I remembered I still wore my crucifix. My crucifix was what scared the creature. The creature stepped back, grabbed its sack of dead children, and ran off into the night. It was no longer anywhere to be seen after that. I calmed down by breathing. Then I started to cry happily, knowing my life was saved. Because without my crucifix, my life would have ended. I wiped the tears from my face and continued to walk across the oval back to my apartment. After I reached my apartment, I turned on the lights of my Christmas tree. The colors glowed as I watched in delight. The angel stood at the top of the tree, holding its wand. I smiled so emotionally as I stared at the angel. I held my crucifix on my necklace and thankfully kissed it. After what happened, my faith got stronger. I know whenever I have my crucifix with me, I know the Lord will protect me. Thank Christ I'm alive. With that said, I hope whatever I saw doesn't come back. I couldn't help but feel sorry for those children who got killed by that thing. In fact, I hope no one else gets killed by that horrid thing. I hope to God that demon disappears for good.